Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
This is John.
What's up, man? We coming to y'all, man. We got this podcast we making, man, and called The Thinking Game, man. We just coming at the world in a different perspective, man, and sharing our thoughts and perspectives and stuff like that.
Working man's point of view, you know what I mean? I don't feel like there is an average or a regular. I think everybody's unique and an individual. We're just coming in here just like regular people, but we're just trying to talk to you, trying to say what we're thinking about and some of our thoughts. You know,
yeah, man. So how's your week at work, man?
My week at work, it was wonderful. Great. You know what I mean? It's really busy. Being in healthcare on the front lines in these time with the pandemic, really seeing how it's affecting just everyday people. You know what I mean? How it affects the homeless. You know what I mean? It's very different. They're living a very different lifestyle because a lot of people want to stay at home and stay away from public things, but they have no home to stay in, so they're just in this.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if James Brown was to sing that song now, "Living in America"? It'd be a totally different song.
Totally different song. Totally different.
Oh man!
Oh my God! It's different. Like Waffle House, like really not open 24 hours anymore. If they do,
and they actually clean now. You know, Waffle House used to be dirty, man. Yeah. They actually, because I guess nobody don't go there. They kind of clean now.
Yeah, I think the paint scheme.
So the food must be terrible. Usually the food be good.
The worse, the dirtier it is, the better the food. But I'm so sorry. No shame, Waffle House. We really enjoy Waffle House.
I love Waffle House.
You know,
I love the Grand.
Sponsor us. You
know,
no,
what is it? The home run? What is it called?
Grand Slam. No, that's Denny's. The All Star. We're talking
the
about
All Star. Yeah.
I'm not gonna Denny's either. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to edit that out. But that's one of those things. Like I just think some colors just don't look clean. When you do brown and yellow. That's just really those aren't positive colors especially associated with food. For me at least.
Man. So we just talking about different stuff, man, random stuff. But today we ran across some stuff, man. And one thing we've been seeing a lot is people quitting their jobs across the country. Like call it the Great Resignation, which is greatly insane. But what do we know? And researchers have found that some of these things contribute to the Great Resignation, and we're going to hit on some of those, and we're going to keep it moving. One of them is high turnover.
It just seems like now, I think maybe part of it during the pandemic, people figured out they could survive without a job or become their own bosses and try different things, you know what I mean? So it's the opposite. You think when the world kind of opened back up just a little bit that everybody would run to jobs, to run to that safety and security of having a 9-to-5 job or doing shift work. But people have really found a lot of freedom within the pandemic. And people aren't tolerating just these 40-hour work weeks, no vacations, you know what I mean, being stressed like that. And you got to think most jobs are in the public and working for the public, or they're in contact with other people. They just don't believe these wages are worth risking their lives or their families' lives.
Right.
And they haven't changed a lot, you know what I mean? And if you get COVID or anything, you get sick like that, that's 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And if you're just getting back in the workforce, you don't have that kind of vacation time or sick time saved up, and you have to weigh that. So, and they're threatening to fire you when they don't have help either. That's a part of the turnover issue as well.
Working in IT, you see different things. Like you work at a place that's high turnover. You see some of these jobs. Like I remember I was doing support for a call center, like help desk support. High turnover. I mean, they probably hired 10 people, man, and we mess around and have a betting pool of how long they'll make it, man. And sometimes they wouldn't even make it 2 months, man. But that's why I tell kids, man, go to school, man. Please, man, get these little jobs like they're not a career, they just jobs. They just need you to just come in there and keep the wheel turning. There's no skill involved. I don't know. I think from my experience, I see a lot of those jobs are like really high turnover because they know somebody else can come in and fill right then, It's kind of like being on the NFL team, If you're a skill player, they don't want to get rid of you. But if you just a special teams guy, roster filler, the 18th guy on the roster, I mean, they can find somebody else to do that, you know what I'm saying?
We got 4 corners, 4 receivers, and you're one of those receivers, you feel like you're you're important, but you're just number 4, number 5 on the depth chart, and we see that with those jobs, and I'm not going to say those jobs don't require skill, because I went back into customer service, sat in the call center just like you as well. You do have to have a skill with.
No, I'm saying like it don't require a skill. I'm saying like, have a skill to get a job that's not in the high turnover percentile. Yes.
Yeah. You were talking about being more of a professional versus just. Maybe entry level position where you can move
the call center, all you pretty much had to do was take phone calls. You had to look at stuff on your computer and tell the people whether they had coverage or not. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what they had to do. But it was no major skill that, a specialized skill that you had to do. They could just bring somebody in off the street, tell them this is what you do. That's how they looked. I'm telling you how they looked at it. How management and stuff. You
have a cattle.
We can get a bum off the street to do this job. So why do we have to give you preferential treatment? Hey, you want to go home? If you can go home, you want to, I can find somebody else. I'm telling you, man, it's wild west in some of these jobs, man. You gotta be careful, man. Yeah. Definitely gotta have a different mindset, man. They'll run you up out of there.
Yeah, and and you think family building skills, building a good team is the mark of a good manager. But like I say, they're in a position where they will replace you and they have high turnover. A lot of these jobs have other cross-training skills. Like you can start off maybe in customer service, go to IT, troubleshooting, and things like that. Yeah. We're not saying that you can't grow, but there's a lack of loyalty on the next level where they feel like they don't have to be as compassionate to you. Yeah. And a lot of people aren't dealing with it. Like they're coming in now with a sense of pride where people are quitting jobs for behavior that supervisors, managers have always been doing. Right. But people aren't staying for this. Yeah.
And no two jobs are the same. You really have to have the mindset to know what you're walking into. You know what I'm saying? Just be careful what you're walking into, man. You got to do the research. Don't just go into stuff thinking, they're going to pay me X amount of dollars. This job's going to be awesome. Then when you get in there, man, this job ain't about nothing, man.
Yeah.
So, to the next point, you got something else?
No, I think we definitely can. And he moved into our next topic, the income inequality.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? And that's from everywhere, from color, race, location. And they're going to always negotiate you on cost of living.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you're a system analyst in California, you look at the median income is $120,000.
The cost of living is insane.
You're here in Arkansas, and now you're doing the same work. You know what I mean? And you're getting $70,000, $50,000, and you feel like something should be in place like that. You know what I mean? You have the same degree. The same degree cost an X amount of money, but and that's a good one where you can argue cost of living. Sometimes you're not making the same amount of money. The only difference between you and your colleague is you're a male, she's a female.
Right.
You know what I mean? Things like that, and we're trying to bridge those gaps, and we're making they say we're making progress. You know what I mean, with the glass ceiling and things like that. But things aren't fair. You get, especially if you're trying to go with entry-level jobs with high turnover, they'll put you in there and there's no negotiation with the pay. There's a ceiling there, you know what I mean? So that just feeds our point when you're talking about
and another thing to think
being
about,
a professional.
Another thing to think about is you don't want to give anybody a reason to disqualify you for anything. While you're in the corporate world, it's just like sports. Do you have the stats to back up what you're asking for? You can't. What's a linebacker? Jason Sehorn can't go in there and say, "I want Deion Sanders." That's a cornerback. He can't say, "I want Deion Sanders money," and you don't have the Deion Sanders stats and skill. You can't.
I mean, one time they were comparable, and you're talking about 6'2" corner.
Never comparable.
A 6'2" corner.
That dude oversold. That's like the furniture store. That's like the furniture store telling you we compare to Hank's Fine Furniture. No, you don't.
Listen, we're talking about a guy he was a break zone guy, and for a guy that tall, we're talking about speed and range.
What speed?
No.
I didn't see the speed. I'm just saying. I mean, it's just like was the guy Adam Archuleta talking about he wrote a 4.3. You're right.
I don't think you can.
4.3 what?
I'm sorry, Adam.
Yeah, sorry, Adam. I'm just telling you facts though. He said he ran a 4.3. then you look at the game film, it's like they don't look
But
like
it was explosion. I mean, he had a revolutionary
right.
way to work out.
However
We
you
wish we
wanna
could, wish he'd come back and really show us more of that.
But that is a great point because he sold it by having the videos. He had the highlights cut and he was showing them exploding. So it made him look like he was fast. But in game time, it was different. And that's the same thing about high turnover equality because if you don't have that skill, you're not able to market yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can end up in this category real quick.
And we're talking about this second category. I think sometimes it's sensitive, and when somebody opinion of you will set your pay, like the impression you make also matched up with your resume, and like you said, your stats.
Yeah.
Is determined by a person or a group of people. Because some of them don't have, like, you apply or you see a job opening, they don't have a set pay. It just says negotiable.
Right.
The entire thing. You know what I mean? They don't want to pay you the max.
Yeah.
And where income inequality comes in is when me and Mike here, we have the same stats. We have very similar backgrounds and things like that. And he's being paid significantly more than I am.
Right.
And that's a huge issue. And it's sometimes, a lot of times, it's not a big thing in low-paying jobs, but it's everywhere. It is in low-paying jobs as well, but in high-paying jobs. And you're making significantly $10,000, $20,000 more than me. You're in the same position, you know what I mean? Or you get this thing even in regular jobs or 9-to-5s or things like that that's not sales-based and things like that.
Right.
You have people who've been in a job with 10, 15 years experience.
Right.
Things change with the economy and cost of living. Mm-hmm. A person with 2 years experience coming into the job can make more or equal to a person that's been there for 20 years.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the red tape, the bureaucracy can leave that 20-year veteran with the same pay or less pay. And you can go to a supervisor. And honestly, a lot of companies have a policy where you're not supposed to discuss salaries between each other. And that's a law that's specifically there to protect the company, not you. Whose best interest is that going to? And that's not the employee.
And then we got to cut into the onion because when you cut into this onion, it's two sides. Know your worth, and you got to be honest with yourself. Like, the worth that you're asking for, are you really worth that? Or is that what you want, but the market is saying that you're not up to that level yet? It's just like saying you want Patrick Mahomes money, but you're not throwing the touchdowns.
Yeah.
You just a game manager. Mm-hmm. You just get them. You don't lose the game, but you're not gonna win the game either. Yeah. But you want Patrick Mahomes money. You want triple-digit cut.
So like Trent Dilfer with the Ravens and
we love Trent Dilfer. That was a good quarterback.
And Tampa Bay,
he wasn't a good quarterback.
And Tampa Bay, but when he went to the Ravens.
Oh, you talking about Brad Johnson? You talking about Brad Johnson?
No, we're talking about Trent Dilfer. He won a Super Bowl with the Ravens.
But wasn't Brad Johnson the quarterback for the Bucks?
Yeah, but
the defense was so good.
Was the quarterback before then.
At the Bucks?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I'm sorry.
I didn't know that. I thought it was Brad Johnson.
That's where he started. I mean,
wow.
But no,
that makes total sense because he went from another defense to another defense.
He just got another
won a Super Bowl. Man, that's awesome, man. That's pretty tight.
You don't have to take it back. But the thing with inequality sometimes is that you're old, like on the books, like you have a new employee that's making one thing, and having the strength to leave and to go and find to test the market.
That's why you got to know your value.
Yeah, like you say, know your value because you are worth that because they're paying somebody who doesn't have. They're proving your worth in some situations because they're saying they're willing to pay somebody from a different company or from off the street.
Right.
With 2 years experience, maybe 20% more than you.
Yeah.
And you've been working there 20 years or 15 years. You have to resell yourself and maintain the loyalty to a company that's treating you like that. That's one of our next topics. Bad work conditions, being underpaid, watching watching the inequality being happen. Watching that's almost a form of abuse to be underpaid like that.
Yeah,
That's a bad work condition.
When I get this, I got a ATM switcher. I got to get that set up. We're gonna really break this down by like how some of these jobs are, the disparities and stuff like that. Because income inequality and work conditions are kind of weird. Because from working different jobs in IT, I know from like working at different government jobs or something like that, the pay may not be great, but the work condition may be so laid back. I don't know if this is true, but it seems like, hey, we can't pay them a lot, so let's not make their job situation terrible because we can't afford to just have a big drop in turnover. So it's like you're not getting paid that much, but if you make it, you get hired in, it's hard to get fired. You know what I'm saying?
That's one of my favorite things, and it's something I do. You have to kind of weigh. It's stress to income ratio.
Right.
Some jobs may not be giving you the income, but the stress is a little bit lighter. You know what I mean?
Right,
you know what I mean? You know, it's like if it was any more stressful, I definitely wouldn't do this job.
Right.
It's just hidden benefits for each job. You know what I mean? It's just different pros that aren't listed on the company benefits, but they're in there hidden. You know what I mean? Whether it's a downtime issue, whether it's your lunch break is like 2 hours, or whether it's something the food is free. You know what I mean, or something like that. They throw in little things like that to kind of to increase employee morale. You know what I mean? Because we can't pay you. You know what I mean? Let's give them a pizza.
Because, man, there's jobs out here, they giving away money, but you got to have this, and this. You got to have A, B, C, and D. And in some jobs, they'll say, we want a bachelor's degree and or equivalent experience. But, if you don't know the right person or you can't sell yourself in the interview, you're gonna be in one of those two categories: income inequality or work conditions. Just because you get a degree, it's more to just having a degree. You know what I'm saying? You gotta still ace the interview. You can't even teach that. That's something you have to kind of go through and kind of find yourself and learn yourself. Cause you have to walk into a room with two strangers or however many people and interview with you. You got to make them comfortable enough to feel like they want to bring you into wherever company X or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So imagine the higher you go up, the more people you interview with. How about that? Imagine walking into a room with 5 people interviewing you. It's 5 and it's 1 of you and it's 5 of them and they all looking at you. And you got to handle this. You got to kind of take over this room at one time, you know what I'm saying? And if you're shy, an introvert, they'll eat you for lunch. And they'll entertain them. They'll eat you for lunch in an interview. So you have to, you know what I'm saying, think about these things. Don't let you make you quit the job, but figure out how can I win? How can I overcome this? How can I work in here until I need to get to where I need to get to instead of just quitting and not having nothing? Because I'm telling you, man, sometimes I pass by that workforce on the way to work. Man, that line, boy, some days be long, man. Man, you kind of go up there early trying to get a head start in the line, and when you get there, the line is all the way to the back, man. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, but, a lot of people are, like I said, resigning, but like I said, a lot of people do want jobs. They're so, many different things. And he was saying earlier about you want to have A, B, C, and D, and they require bachelor's degree, also 5 to 10 years experience in related field or related skills, things like that. There's just more reasons to say no to you. And you can have A, B, C, and D, and they can still say no. Right. For whatever reason. They have a right to choose you. And then you're talking about taking an interview in front of 5 people, 12 people, video conference, phone interviews. Doing a good job, sometimes things are against you. 2 of the people interviewing you might have somebody else already in mind.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And they already have their favorite, player. You know what I mean? So there may be.
I went to interviews that I know this for a fact. I went to interviews, and they interview people just to have the legal process of interviewing people, but they already got the person picked out. You go to the interview and you be like, okay, clearly they already got somebody picked out. They just really just going through the motions, you know what I'm saying?
And some people might not know. Like the two of the people know they want this guy and they're going to get this guy. The other three you may have won over or that one, but it's still,
you can tell though when you're gonna. Sometimes you can tell, they was looking for. It's like an even playing. You go in there and you kind of start talking, and people perk up like, oh wow, this guy's pretty good. This guy's pretty good. So you kind of gotta have a little bit of insight. Kind of got a little bit of discernment, man, on how to talk to people. I think most people don't really not comfortable talking to strangers sometimes. And that's kind of one of the best things, because you kind of taught that in school, don't deal with strangers. But when you get in these jobs, you don't know these people. This is the first time you're meeting them. That's the first time meeting you.
Yeah, and you have to give an impression. I mean, I've been on a job interview where I did really good. Yeah. And, after interviews, like, man, I kind of, really like interview. We love your, resume and, actually talking to you, you'd be a perfect fit for the job. Right. But, right after the interview. So they knew this before the interview. She's like, man, we're probably not going to be able to hire you. We're not going to hire you. We already got somebody. Right. You know what I mean? So they knew that before I took the interview. But, she was like, well, it was just formality. Right. You taking this interview. I can put your name on there and say I sat with you for 30 minutes. Exactly. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it was good to know that. I mean, of course, but at least I'm not waiting around the phone for 2 weeks to tell me that I didn't get it.
And then you just don't be afraid of rejection, man. Sometimes some interviews you don't get. I've known some jobs I didn't get. It's probably a good thing that I didn't get it because I probably wouldn't fit the culture of that job. So I understand. Sometimes, man, people going to tell you no. You got to be okay with that. And there's nothing wrong with going to interview. You need that experience to interview. As much as you can interview, the better you'll be. Exactly. So when you come up on a job that you want or that opportunity, you'll be ready. If you only been working 10 years and only had 2 interviews, I mean, unless you really love that job, but nowadays, I mean, who are getting really crazy raises nowadays, especially if you're not on the executive level, I mean. Or
you're not in sales. Sales is always, it's a little volatile because it's high and low. Yeah. But you know what I mean? You kind of create your own fate. But a lot of people but they don't, a lot of people don't like the inconsistency sometimes of it, but sometimes we have natural sellers. I would suggest anybody, to go on interviews, especially if you're young. Hey, go to interview for a dollar store or Taco Bell or anything like that. Yeah. See if you get it, practice it, ask for feedback. Because these people, especially with high turnover jobs, these interviewers even though they're hiring and firing these people, those interviewers are getting so much experience interviewing people. So they can tell you, hey, well, most people they don't dress right, or they don't do this, or they don't do that, because they interview people all the time.
Damn, another thing is dress, too. I just thought about that. Man, you gotta, I had to learn this, because I used to be one of them dudes, oh, man, I ain't wearing no suit and tie, man, that ain't me.
Because I got the skills.
Man, I got more bow ties than NOI in my closet, man. It's crazy, man. And, but nah, man, you gotta dress for success, man. And like I say, what Deion say, you dress good, you play good, they pay good. Bottom line, man, And you don't have to start out with the Italian suit, man, looking like, you in The Godfather or something, man. You just gotta get some slacks and button downs, man. You don't have to start out.
I mean, you can go to Walmart. I think Dollar Tree, the dollar store, Dollar General might have some slacks. I mean, they just have, just like the look, just maybe a cleaner look. You know what I mean?
I think that depends on your size, though. When you 6'5", man. I know I'm 6'5". I can't get I can't find. I wish I could find some Dollar General.
I mean, Flood's in style right now.
You said what?
Let's wear some nice socks and just kind of rock the Flood or taper kind of look.
I'm not a Flood kind of guy, I guess.
I mean, hipster. I mean, it'll still be clean.
I mean, your opinion.
I don't know. I don't know style myself. You know what I mean?
I know style, but I don't know that style. You know what I'm saying?
That's a bow tie with some matching socks, man. You have a little cute outfit. I'm grown man. I never wear outfit.
But you just Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity though. So I mean, what's the difference?
Hey, you know what I mean? Ain't nothing wrong with a little fruit with your little pancakes, you know what I mean? You get the little cream, you know what I mean, with it. So,
you can have that, man. Just give
whatever tickles your friend. What about fancy? You split decision. Yeah. You can.
So now we finna hit him with something deep. This is something my boy Jay came up with. He gonna hit him with something deep.
And I don't know if I came up with it, but what serves you doesn't always bring you pleasure, and what brings you pleasure doesn't always serve you.
Right.
You know what I mean? People are always looking, and it's great. I think it's a great idea to do what you love, you know what I mean? But sometimes the thing that you're doing that you love, isn't serving you. And the thing sometimes that you may hate is really bringing you great benefit. So you have to find a balance with that. You always have to, like, none of us, school probably doesn't bring a lot of us pleasure.
No.
But it's going to serve you.
Right.
I mean, it's going, like, you know, say if you complete that, it's going to serve you.
I'm telling you, kids, please don't be like me. I did the 2-year degree, and then I said, I think I'm good. That should be good enough. No. I hit that ceiling real fast. And now I'm getting my, finishing up, getting my 4-year degree now, and I'm 38. I'm telling you, it's not bringing me pleasure right now. I had to do homework, still having to be a dad, you know, do my church work and stuff like that. It's not bringing me pleasure at all with school, but it's going to bring pleasure, but I got to get there and do the work and get there. So, yeah.
And that's one of those things, you don't get half credit.
No.
I would love some half credit. If I can take half of my potential income, that would be, you know what, it'll probably motivate me to finish just as a little incentive, but it doesn't. That stuff, it just does not bring you pleasure. And people keep saying, do what makes you happy. Well, sometimes to get to your happiness, you have to get through a little bit. You know what I mean? And school isn't all bad. And school is just one thing. You know what I mean? Working at internship is going to greatly serve you.
But
it doesn't bring you any pleasure. And sometimes, selling speakers with your cousin, you know what I mean, brings you pleasure, or doing a mixtape or whatever.
Right.
Now, it could always pay off. You know what I mean? But you know,
what's the chances? Like, what's the odds? Like, that's another thing.
Partying, being out with that girl that you love, or not love, or think you love, or whatever, it brings you great pleasure, but it doesn't really serve you. If she's not trying to help, you.
If it isn't love, why do I feel this way?
And we're not knocking. It's good to have a partner, to have a ride or die road dog partner in the beginning before you blow up. But then, like I say, people.
Then you gotta define like happiness or pleasure. Like, you know, there's some warped people out there, man. You know, like, do it make you happy to make everybody around you devastated and feel like crap? You know what I'm saying?
Workplace snitches.
Yeah. Oh my God!
I think they get pleasure by sending email. Yeah. He was on his phone for 3.7 seconds, and then he was on Facebook for at least 39 seconds. I know he was on there. He looked at 2 stories. They had to be 25.3 seconds apiece. And they're sending those emails.
And that's the sad thing about brown noses.
It's how turnover jobs.
That's the sad thing about brown noses. If they, instead of the energy they put into being a brown nose, if they put that into actually gaining the skill of the job that they're doing, they'll be much further ahead.
But being a quote-unquote brown noser gives them pleasure. We want to do what brings us pleasure.
Exactly.
But if they put that same energy trying to do what serves them, you know, that's different. That applies to your relationship.
Because what happens with brown noses is, I've seen it, that they'll get up to a certain point and they have to actually do the job and they can't do it.
And then they got all the real workers, the doers, the people that were putting the numbers up. You got rid of them.
Right.
And now you kind of like, now you start point guard. Now let's see what you going to do.
Or they get mad because they was brown nosing for an agenda and they didn't get that agenda. Because of the pay quality. Because of the pay quality.
Exactly.
Man, I've been brown nosing you, man, and you can't give me a $10,000 raise, man. I'm going home. See you later.
Yeah, I promise. Nothing is promised.
Nothing is promised. Nothing is promised. But yeah, man, you gotta be careful about that, man, because it's reality. It's what you think, and it's the truth, and it's reality. You know what
it's also what you feel, because feelings in this world are so important,
and they change too.
Right now. You know what I mean? That is the thing that people follow your heart, follow your feelings. You know, you grow, you mature.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know if it's a word, but some people
I think that's what made me weird, because
devolve,
running off feeling, man. Feelings change, man. I mean, one day you may feel like this, and like one day I may feel like McDonald's, the next day I might feel like going to Sonic, man. You know what I'm saying? It changed just like that.
Yeah, and
then you may get a burger from Sonic, but you may get a limeade from you may get a burger from McDonald's, a limeade from Sonic, man. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they do sound like it do kind of.
You gotta be careful, man.
Don't makes you happy.
Let your feelings drive your life, because feelings change. You gotta have some logic behind it.
And you gotta have something concrete. I mean, because if you're in there changing majors because you felt something
Right.
different. I want to be this.
Because
feel,
the teacher in astronomy class made you feel different because he was talking about the planets, say Neil deGrasse.
Now you feel like you want to go into that. Now you feel like you want to go into religion. Now
this teacher was talking about stars and the Milky Way.
Now you feel like you want to go
my God.
and get enriched.
It was so nice. But does that pay though? Is that going to provide you stability? Have you ever heard?
We're not knocking self-care, self-love, or mental health. I mean, your feelings are important, are valid, but sometimes you can be sitting there with satisfied feelings, and you did all this work or this fighting for something or somebody you don't even love anymore. Like, think 5 years in the past, that person when you were in when you were 15, you're 20, 21 now, that person that you couldn't live without at 15, all those feelings you had for that person, now you don't even think about them.
Yeah.
So we like to we like to base a lot of things. We love to live and we love our children. I have feelings about my children, but you have to kind of like sometimes when it comes to your career and some stuff is.
And then things, if you got any sense, things change when your age group, like, what pleasures you or what brings you pleasure in your 20s or motivate you in your 20s versus what in your 30s may change. Because stability, most people, when you're in your 20s, you don't even think about stability. You don't even have to worry with all most of the time. But stability don't serve you well when you're young because you have to give up stuff. But as you get older, you got kids, you got a family and a wife. It's going to serve you well because you got stability and everybody, is able to be on a solid, a solid platform of stability. You know what I'm saying? So,
or sometimes when your parents, sometimes generational blessings can be generational curse. Like with having stable grandparents, stable parents, you can deprioritize your stability. In your as a teenager, in your early 20s, you don't have to get a job. My parents gave me my first car. College is kind of taken care of and stuff like that. If you don't get, it's probably not going to be a priority, but if you don't get into that follower's mindset, what you're trying to do, what your parents laid out for you, because it won't be,
it's the stability don't mean you're going to have everything that you want. I mean, you still.
But you got to do it yourself.
It's like having cereal, but you can't afford the Fruit Loops. You get the Fruit Rings, you know what I'm saying? It's still cereal. You still eating, the milk sweet, but it's Fruit Rings, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes instead of Captain Crunch, you got to get the King Vitamins, man, you know what I'm saying? I like King Vitamins, you know what I'm saying? I prefer it.
The best.
I prefer it, but it ain't the best, but I live, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? I got my vitamins, you know what I mean? I'm 250. But that's another thing as well. When you're like, like I said, your parents, set the groundwork. It's like, a lot of stuff is given. But when you kind of come from like a single parent home or something like that, it's sometimes it's like you're forced into, you got to get a job. You got to do it, and you start to do this. You're doing stability by necessity.
Yeah, that's what I had.
Because you have to.
It wasn't easy, though. I promise it wasn't easy, man.
Because you and your mama finna get kicked out if you don't get a job. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You talking about you eating half a hot pocket.
No, you learn how to be. You learn how to be selfless and not selfish. Because,
for the team. Yeah,
man. Because I mean, if you meet a dude that ain't gonna take care of his mom, that's gonna probably be a pretty sorry dude, man. If you ain't gonna help your mom, man. But a lot of times girls didn't understand that. We was young, they didn't understand that. They just thought,
I take a significant portion out of that. Yeah. And you don't know, like when your first car, things happen, and you end up sharing your car with your mom. It just don't ever the optics.
Yeah, the optics
don't look like it's your car. You know what I mean? Because it's the older person, and they're always like, especially people have the bias who come from like maybe 2-parent households or hey, my mom drives a Jaguar, or my mom makes good money, or my dad does, or both of them do. They just can't see a child like you're 18, 15, 21, 25 helping their parent out because they can't fathom it because their parents, they need some money, they go to their parents.
Right.
You know what I mean? They just can't really see that. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, why can't your mama take care of you? Well, why didn't you? Right. And everybody's responsible for their own choices. And yeah, my mom should have been a PhD doctor or a lawyer, and my dad should have been, owned a couple oil rigs or something like that. But it just don't really work out like that.
We're not the Huxtables, man. Okay, we're not. My mom did the best she could. I thank her for it. I'm grateful for it.
Learned a lot.
Yeah, I learned a lot, man. I mean, she let me learn a lot. I mean, you know, she tried to have a hand on me, but I love you, Mom. But nah, you know, she realized early. She was like, this kid is a little different. I'm just gonna have to kind of give him the rules to the game and just kind of let him go play, man, and pray to God he don't do nothing crazy.
I mean, as a father, you start learning stuff like that. I mean, you know, you don't want to be like a helicopter parent, but I'm like, dude, that don't make sense.
Yeah.
But you gotta let them, you know, all right, man, only way to know, I told you it was hot.
Yeah.
3 times. You know what I mean?
For real.
You know, what's the 3rd-degree burn, right?
Oh, boy, 3rd-degree burn, boy. And you get it to heal. That's the tough part.
Well, I know, right?
And then our next one is success is not guaranteed. Success, yeah, it's not guaranteed. What we mean by that is, you know, nothing's given to you, man. You got to go get it. You know what I'm saying? And even in, you know, the world we live in, there's just so many obstacles you got to be able to overcome. You got to be able to endure the obstacles. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Be able to endure it. I guess it's kind of like Rambo. You know, they dropped him off in the rainforest, man, in Vietnam. I mean, it wasn't guaranteed he was gonna get out of there, man. But he made his way out of there, though. He was like, "It's not guaranteed, but I'm guaranteeing I'm gonna get out of there."
Yeah, and your skills, are tools, are weapons, are just everything you learn, your experience, anything that you can use to help you, your experiences,
right?
Where you grew up, you know what I mean. A lot of people say I can sell drugs,
right?
But I can't, you know, and I can count all this. I can count grams. I can convert, gram to millimeters to gallons to.
Right.
I can do volumes. I can do all that in my head and stuff like that. A gram is 3.5. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
In your head. But I can't go to school. I can't do that. Well, use your background to kind of help you succeed. Use these as tools of success.
Yeah, you don't have to always go to college right off the bat. Like I said, there's trades. Now, if you're good at doing stuff, man, you be a plumber, man, and just get all the equipment to be a plumber, man. Plumbers make good money. Electricians make really good money.
See, a lot of times it sounds like a job or it's like a trade, but immediately with those skills, with those trades,
man,
you become a small business.
Yes.
Or a big business.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you don't feel like you want to be over everything, control your own fate, you can always work for your local energy company. You can work,
But I'm not doing the lineman, though. I'm not doing that.
They make good money.
Man, but I'm not doing that.
With great risk, there's great reward. But
man, how you feel? I ain't paying every little bit.
It's also, working for the city. So when you do something like being a plumber or an electrician, you have both of those things: to own your own business or to work for a business and get paid those premium hours. And we talked about a lot of stuff about interviewing, college, schools, a lot of things. Finding your passion or what pleasures you to make profit from that. But it's still, all of it goes down to success is still not guaranteed. You took good interviews. You got the education, plus the experience. Then you run into income inequality. You know what I mean? Like, you're not getting paid anything what you're worth. Right. You know what I mean? You're a lawyer while you're still a paralegal. You passed the bar, X amount years ago. It's not really popping off for you. You know what I mean? You own your own business. You have an LLC.
Right.
You know what I mean? You made your website. You know what I mean? You have content. And it's just not booming. Like, you haven't been able to monetize this. I've done the stuff right. I've took the steps. I went to college. I worked the job. I did the internship. And the success is in here. Where's my 120K job? Where's my 150? Where's my 250?
Right.
Why am I not living on the good side of town? Why I don't have $1 million home?
Right.
I went to school. I did the job for 10 years. And
do you think about that? Do you really want $1 million home? Like, I think people want that, but when they actually see what it entails to have a house of that size, or that you live in a neighborhood like that, the lifestyle it entails, like. You can't have $1 million home and drive a 72 Cutlass.
Was it the homeowners association?
Yes, you can't live in that kind of house and have a 72 Cutlass and
I see a lot of 94 Hondas,
but even with that, they probably got the 94 Honda, but sometimes they have that's their daily driver though.
Yeah,
but
most definitely.
Yeah, what they got in the garage is pretty crazy, and then you know, we usually cut our own grass. You probably got to pay, you know, that lifestyle that they live. You know what I'm saying?
The
Like,
homeowner association says it has to be cut by a certified landscaper who's registered with the National Landscaping Association of America.
he charge you $500.
You know what I mean? For the regular cut, you know what I mean? If you want to do something with your mulch or the leaves, you know what I mean? So.
And then you got to know what the stability that you got to have before you even purchase a house like that. I mean, you probably got to be making, 6 figures consistently for so long before they even think about.
And another thing, just because they approve you for something, don't mean you can afford it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't let nobody tell you, oh, well, you know, with your income, if we're making it for 70, we definitely approve you for this amount.
Yeah.
So definitely you want to do your research. I'm not knocking anybody or discouraging anyone to get their dream home, to build their dream home, because that's what we're doing. Right. I mean, I don't like, honestly, I don't like to use the term dreams. You know what I mean? Because I've been called a dream killer, but I don't use a dream because I just think they're goals that you just haven't accomplished yet.
Yeah, it's the difference between dream and reality.
And the goal, it's the difference between dream and goal, and then the dream and reality, because reality, I mean, dreams aren't usually set in reality. It's like a fantasy, like something. Right. To me, a dream seems unattainable. You know what I mean? And, if you take the steps, I mean, I think we can transition a dream into a goal. Right. You know what I mean? Like for a child. I mean, for a child to be a garbage man, it's a dream. And it's kind of far-fetched for a 5-year-old to be a garbage man. But, just taking the regular steps of finishing first grade.
Like my son, second grade, he want to drive trains. He want to drive trains, man. But yeah, man.
But the chance of him driving trains right now, next year, really ain't looking good for him. But I mean, because it's a dream, it's a pipe dream. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Pipe
but
dream.
if he does well in school, you know what I mean, like he's doing, he's in the process of doing. And people always say to get something you never had, you should do something you never did. That's true and it's not true. If you had good habits, be consistent. Keep doing what you're doing because it's working. It's just not working tomorrow. You don't start college, do good your freshman year, and then quit because you haven't graduated college.
Right.
You're still in step 1. Well, I did to get something I never did. I never got. I had to do something I never did. That sounds good.
You've been watching YouTube videos. Man, I don't need college, man. I can just go find a job, man.
Yeah, and then I'm not saying that you need anything, that you need that, but these things are tools that can help you.
Yeah.
And if you have the mental ability to, and the time, of course, if you have the ability to kind of sit in the classroom and learn, especially if you're one of those people who good memories or do well in school, just get that stuff out the way.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just one thing to have. Now, if you really do have problems reading, retaining, or any kind of issue, I do understand that it really might not be for you. If you have to read something 7 times before you have a general understanding of it, of graphs and the concepts, I think it's important to find the way that you learn. You know what I mean? If it's just that troublesome. If you have to take one class 3 and 4 times, we get to the point where I don't want to kill my dreams like I've been accused of. You got to get to the point to say, hey, man, is this logical for me? Maybe find a different subject. Right. Or like I say, maybe you're more of a hands-on person.
That's when you face reality, you know
what I mean? Like, that's when you face reality. Like, man, if you're failing concepts of reading and things like that, or you know what I mean, you've been on elementary algebra for 3 semesters and you keep repeating it, invest in a tutor, and if that's not working, you have to. Sometimes you have to try something else. If you're a hands-on learner, if they can put a wrench in your hand, you can fix anything, man. But you're not good with this math stuff, man. Kind of roll toward that. Roll toward your strengths.
Yeah, and that's what you got to be honest. Be honest with yourself. Don't let your ego. If you know you need help doing something, don't let your ego say, "Nah, I don't need to do that. I'm not gonna get no help. I figure it out." No. Get help. Please get help. Don't just let your ego take you down the drain because you feel like you don't need to do therapy and, you know what I'm saying, or get helped on that, because you never know, man. Sometimes you may have to practice on something. I know I have to with IT. I got to practice on stuff all the time. I can't tell you how many times in IT you get presented with stuff that you don't know because it changes all the time. And you have to just go through and then fiddle around in GUIs and stuff and fiddle around and click on stuff and I wonder how this work. And look up YouTube videos. So
now,
yeah.
I disagree with a lot of people with this. They say, man, you're not in competition with anybody. But I'm sorry, when you're an athlete, when you're a competitor, when you live in the house with other men, whether it's brothers, you got to fight for food or just make things interesting. Friendly competition is possible because we compete with each other all the time. Whether it's cards,
but it's not unhealthy. Yeah, unhealthy. When it becomes unhealthy, I don't want to win by any means. I don't want to cut his leg off so I can beat him in a race. Right.
And some people have that mentality. Well, I'll get it. If I can't outsell him, I'll just get him fired.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
Where's the competition? You didn't even compete. Yeah. You didn't even let it start.
Right.
But another thing, we can be discouraged by things. You don't know a person's background. You don't know, hey, their family's been good at math.
Yeah.
They've been winning spelling bees since they were 3 years old. But you're not as good as him as a speller in college or in high school, and you're comparing yourself to somebody who's been trained to do this. Or they're good at math, and they were able to breeze through 8 different higher education math, stats, trigonometry, calculus, and with the breathe, and you're having a hard time, so you get discouraged and you don't feel like you're normal, so you drop out of school. Things like that. You might be a little slower,
right?
But don't really compare yourself to that or anybody else's progress. There are some people who are really gifted at learning on paper. There's some people gifted with different, like even with basketball. You gonna go in there and be mad because you and LeBron James are the same age?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're only 4 inches shorter than him, but he in the NBA. No, man, he's been, it's different. He's gifted with that. And so don't be discouraged by that.
And don't be one of those people. Don't be one of those people that, it's sad, man. I've seen them a lot. It's people out there, it's this personality of people. Like, it could be either person, man or woman, whoever. They won't do anything unless they're competing. But if they're not competing, they won't do anything because they don't feel like they're competing. You ever met somebody like that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like me working in IT, I can give you like an example, just general. It's not pointing at nobody. Like if a guy, he don't feel no competition, so he don't work hard. He kind of just fiddle around with tickets or something, or he don't want to help nobody. Then when a new person come in, he start doing stuff. Oh, I better get up and start doing it because he's not gonna outdo me. And then it's those people that if let's say you're a good communicator, you telling a story at the company lunch or something, you talking to your bosses or something, and you say, hey man, I was shooting basketball, man. I hit like 5 shots.
I shot basketball one time, and I did really they said I look like a bird, man. I'm Larry Bird. Lawrence Bird.
And then I'm gonna say, well, they call me Magic Johnson. We just compete against each other like
you don't even like basketball, but you're in this conversation like
man.
This,
so there's people out there, they take it to the next level. It's crazy, man.
There's a lot of one-uppers.
And it ain't a competition. Like, man, I'm not competing against you. I'm just doing my thing, man.
And these people seem strange, you know what I mean? But different things give different people pleasure or motivation.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to find what motivates you, and sometimes, therapy can help you get out of those bad habits or those narcissistic ways or whatever your issue might be, if it's a problem, or they can show you how to manage it creatively and be positive with it. I mean, could you imagine not being at your job, being bored, not being motivated, but then somebody new comes around.
Right.
You don't even know it, but your production is increased.
Right.
If you can figure out a way, challenging yourself, like with a therapist, because I'm not a therapist, they can give you like a little chart. You can do these things where you compete with yourself. Like, I did 4 tickets last week. I think I might do 5 this week.
Right.
And you have increased your productivity just by taking a little mental strategy from like a therapist or something like that. So something that used to be a problem has gave you a kind of renewed motivation for your old career, without it being negative or putting anybody else down by doing it.
And then here's another thing right here that we've seen in a lot of jobs, or just in the world in general, just even appreciating your strengths instead of envying others.
And I think we kind of covered that, with the last part of like what we were just saying.
You can go into it even more. Some people,
of course.
It's like they're like Jay is better than me. I mean, I don't envy him. He better than me in some things, and I'm better than him in some things. We don't envy each other. Matter of fact, we a double team a situation because we know how to use both our strengths to make something happen. So, you know what I'm saying? And but it's some people out there that envy. Yeah, you know.
I like. I'm sorry, but people have different skills than me. Those are the people that you want to be around,
right.
Not to envy or not to sabotage or to be in competition with. To even learn from them, you know what I mean? To learn, okay, hey, I'm a little bit better. I'm a offensive specialist. You're a defensive specialist, or even special teams, like when people talk about, oh, your special team really doesn't matter, like, or whether it's jump shots, mid range, long range. Getting those skills and being on the same team. You know, offense and defense, especially in football, are on the same team. They're on different sides of the ball, but they're on the same team. You're not competing with your defense. I want him on my team, so when we tackle it, we can tackle it when we can address something from two ends. I can address it from the customer service side or healthcare side. He can address it from the IT side.
IT side, yeah.
That's two different, things. So that's as a team, those are two things that we have like mastered. Then we can also, get it from an educational standpoint. We got our brother there. Now we're looking at all these skills that we have.
Right.
So whether it's a fight or a game, any opponent that we have has to deal with the three-headed monster now instead of three individuals fighting each other and also fighting the enemy. So it's like a free-for-all.
Because I know some people, man, it's like stuff that people are naturally good at. Some people they'll be like envy because they're not naturally good at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's hating or envy. I don't know. It could be either one, but
I think one causes the other.
They'll get mad at somebody because they're consistent or they have the genetics that you don't have. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why are you focused on what somebody else has instead of focused on what you have? You know what I'm saying? And
it's hard. I promise. It is a common distraction, and it sounds good. And I'm also talking with one of my best friends about his like he can spell any word. He can just throw some random word out to spell. I have no idea why. Yeah. But he can do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not jealous of it. I'll just like ask me how you spell that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't want to like lean on your friends too much. But it's a natural thing to do sometimes. Like, well, if I was that tall, I'd do this. Or I am honestly. I have a different point of view with jealousy, envy. I think there are two different things. I don't know how you define them. Yeah. It's some things, like let's say I see Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
I'm envious or I'm jealous of his money. I wish I had that, but I don't want to hurt him to get his money.
Right.
Some people can see you with something, they want it, they don't want you to have it, they want to take it, they wish that lightning would just strike you dead because you have it.
Right.
Or sometimes it's a little bit more passive aggressive. They can't stop talking about you in a negative tone.
Right.
They don't even notice. Here's some more shoes.
Right.
Like every week you got another pair of shoes on. Yeah. Hey, that's not positive thing you're saying.
Right.
I ain't saying nothing, but he got some more shoes. And the way you're saying is a little bit weird. You know
then they don't know the work you put in.
Why he always getting a promotion?
Yeah. They don't know the work you put in. They don't know the stuff that you're doing. And instead of just asking you, they just keep hating and envying. That's the sad part. They just keep.
And sometimes it seems like when you're asking, you have to humble yourself to ask them for help. Sometimes it's just a regular conversation or observation. Hey man, can I come to your desk and sit, man? Because you are really, you're really turning over your tickets. You know what I mean? Like, I got hotkeys. Shit.
Exactly.
What's a hotkey? You know what I mean?
Right.
And you just asked them. You didn't say, hey man, I was just wondering, man, if there was something, man, I could do for you or something. Right. Or you don't have to brown nose. Just like I said, just talk. Because sometimes, conversation moves the nation.
Then our last topic, this is probably wraps everything up. Everybody starts a race at a starting point, but everybody does not finish the same. And that comes down, like I said, that natural talent, the ability, you mix up all of that. It's like a track race, right? Everybody start off at that one line, but you might have one dude to end up right here, one dude that's going to end up right there. I'll put that right there. It's going to end up behind him, another one behind him. And that's how life is. Some people they take off a little faster than others. Some people got the recovery speed, and some people they just not like, they not at that level, that elite level to and you have to be honest with yourself and understand where you are in that race. You know what I'm saying? Are you the elite level? Are you mid level? Or are you the person that needs to, work, a little bit harder, to try to catch up? You know what I'm saying?
There's so many things. I think everything we say is kind of comes to this, and it can be applied to this. Like, for example, sometimes you just don't have the motivation. Like, you have to motivate yourself, just like the guy that we were talking about, who's always, maybe comparing himself, or he's not as productive until like a new guy comes over and he has to compete with them. So you have to use that to motivate yourself. You jumped out there, you have all the physical ability, you have the skills, you have the size, but you just don't want to run. You just don't feel like it. You know, you have to motivate yourself. So everybody else is going ahead of you. Well, what is it not? What in the workforce? How does that apply?
Right.
Okay, let's say me and Mike go in same position. We're both in just general customer service with a call center. You can go into IT, troubleshooting or whatever, tech support.
Right.
Or you can go more of a specialized, maybe a managerial position.
I'm gonna break it down to you. Let's say we both go into the call center, right? Mm-hmm. We both sitting in the computer. We both on the phone. Mm-hmm. That's an even playing field, right? We're at start line. Now, when you start doing stuff, some people don't know how to use a computer as a tool. Some people do. Some people don't even like computer. Mm-hmm. But if you know how to use a computer as a tool, you can make a shortcut. I ain't never worked in a call center, but I'm sure if I ever had to do something like that, they're not gonna make me work hard. I know how to work the computer. I know one place.
It's still a computer at the end of the day.
One place somebody told me that worked at a call center. They said that you have to be in front of your webcam the whole time. If you move, they'll call you and say, why you not in front of your computer? Mm-hmm. I will bypass that. That's just me. I'll find a way to make it to where it look like I'm at the camera, but I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? That's how I roll. Like, and I'll probably still get the work done, but I just I don't know. That's like some weird psycho thing about me. And but somebody else they will be there just on the computer all the time humping. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I find a way to bypass that. Like, I'm gonna get the work done, but I'm not gonna be sitting here 24/7.
Let's say same race using your different skills and experiences.
Skills, right.
Like when I worked, like say in the call center, starting off in customer service, there were different paths that we can go.
Right.
Like the tech support path, and the sales path, right, and a management path as well. You know what I mean? Looking over, kind of everybody, keeping everything on straight as a whole, managing the employees versus managing the customer in the customer service position. All right. Motivation comes from finding which thing you want to do. Because we both hate coming to work.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it seemed like Mike, when he got that transition to tech support, he got to put his hands on some of the devices. He got to use it, and he got to explain it to people. And that was what he knows. He felt real comfortable. Right. And then he was able to make supervisor. Then he was able to go there. Things really took off for him because he was motivated to do what he was doing. Once he chose his path in the company. It was 3 paths, you know what I mean? So I'm like, since I see what he's doing, let me go try that. This is really not for me. I hate this even more. I gotta keep touching stuff and explaining stuff, and I actually have to look at the particular thing for it. But I noticed that I'm a really good, communicator. You know what I mean? I still, he don't like talking. Right. But I love, talking. Right. So I have to motivate myself, and maybe I'm going more into management, maybe dealing with actual people, motivating the workers. Right. And once I get in more of the manager style thing, managing my own team at the call center, it was a lot better than me being on phones and looking at particular devices. When I'm just listening to calls and telling people how to do things and approach it and make things better. I'm using my experience from being on the phones that I hated, you know what I mean, to talk to other people and coaching them to be better. It actually made me feel like I was back on the team, like I was playing sports again, and I was really into it, really going in motivated and pointing out goals for others. Right. I'm coaching people how to do stuff I hate doing. Yep. You know what I mean? Exactly. But I do that a lot better. You know what I mean? So and
then another thing
that helps you.
I had to learn it for myself. Is that you have to be likable, man. I mean, the dude who has the suit can have you beat by a mile because you just want to wear regular khakis and a polo shirt, and all you had to do was throw on a blazer and a button-down shirt. But the game of inches,
People
He
judge.
beat you by an inch because he had on a suit and he had on a tie and he looked presentable. And I'm not saying wearing a polo shirt and khakis ain't presentable, but that day he beat you by inches because he had that. It's a game of inches. Sometimes just those few little inches of doing something may change your whole trajectory.
Yeah.
I had to learn that for myself.
And it's
my own
different
friend.
monkey wrenches. Like if you that might work at a more traditional company, but guess what? You might have these new age companies where you're sitting in front of your workstation on a giant ball.
Yeah.
Your boss is a hipster, and she got natural hair. You know what I mean? So that might not kind of matter. You might have to kind of adjust your strategy just a little bit, but most of the time, keeping it professional, keeping it clean cut, neat and presentable is usually going to be your safer
And
bet.
then the world is a very vain place. Some jobs, some people don't agree
Appearance
with
is
it,
the
but
first thing you see.
yes,
You
and
know,
aesthetic.
Yeah,
Some job feels you have to have an aesthetic to go with it. All you gotta do is look at the people that work in the job.
Yeah.
Just like you was telling me, an actor was saying, they told him if we just lose a little weight, and he said, I don't want to lose weight. I want to be who I am. Okay, be who you are. You're not gonna get the job now.
You're gonna be sitting with the people who look like you.
Yes, exactly.
You don't look like. Do you look like
You know what
Tom
I'm saying?
Cruise, Will Smith? Like what? Those are people getting started. Now I'm sorry. Now I am 100% sorry. I think you should look how you look. You should be who you are.
take it with
I'm
it.
sorry. Yeah, exactly. Some people might judge you by those things. You know what I mean? We're just not at a place like that.
Right.
And we're talking about pay inequality earlier. Like we're already seeing you're stepping into a world that is not fair.
It's not.
Just because she's a woman, she gets paid less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're openly homosexual. They're not supposed to judge you like that. They're not supposed to not hire you. But you think they're going to put on paper, oh, well, he's homosexual, we're not going to do this. Well, she's a woman, we're not going to pay her this much. No, they're not going to write that. They're not going to write some other reason.
Exactly.
But they're in there, like I said, they're in control like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you got to try to prove it. It's good luck doing that.
And it's one of those things that is, with freedom and discretion,
Yeah.
how do you
Comes with great
control that
responsibility.
from discrimination?
Right.
Like, if I get to choose who I hire in my own discretion, and it's my freedom,
Yeah.
how can you tell me that you can't tell me why I'm not hiring you? And I don't have to tell you why I'm not hiring you either.
Right.
Really, I can just write, we feel like you want to get
That's why you got to give yourself the best chance possible. So even if you don't get it, say, hey, I gave it my best. I'm moving on. I'll be ready for the next one.
Sometimes,
You might get that one if you give your
sometimes it's
chance
not
the
their
best.
best.
shot.
You know what I mean? It's not your business, it's their business.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Fake till you make it. But a lot of people don't like that term because you're supposed to keep it real all the time. We're supposed to keep it real.
You go up in the hood, that's not, you can't fake it till you make it. Well, I guess going to McClellan, we couldn't do, you can't.
I mean, because you're going to be tested.
Yeah.
And I promise, fake it till you make it is great. But like we were talking about, and you were talking about the Brownos, hating on everybody else, and sometimes you have to prove yourself. Your number going to come up. And you got to do your work.
Some people like to be brown nose too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So they won't test.
Sometimes you got to know that, okay, this guy this person clearly likes to be brown nose, and because I'm not a brown noser, it's probably some things I'm not gonna get. It's just the reality. But guess what? That comes with not being a brown noser. I get it. You know what I'm saying? This brown nose is gonna get more probably preferential treatment than I get because they brown nose. But guess what? I don't want their privilege. If this is what it takes, I don't need that. I'm good.
But I thought you said you was trying to give yourself the best chance.
But yeah, that's subjective though. I mean, it's based on each person.
You just said, exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing.
It's all about choice. Like you said, it's all about choices, man.
You know what I mean?
I've seen the path of brown noses.
I feel like wearing a tie is kind of brown nose into the company or this.
think so?
No, I mean I don't really feel like that. But a person could feel like that. Like you're playing, playing the role. You're doing it. I'm telling you, you're brown nose,
and that's fine.
You know what I mean?
That's fine.
But. Exactly. I mean, so if you are brown nose, that's okay.
When I'm limousine riding, jet flying, you just say I'm brown nose in the limousine flying.
And that's what they're saying. They're saying that
that's fine.
They got a pizza party. They got some free donuts.
That's fine. You can have it.
You know what I mean?
I didn't come here for the pizza party and free donuts. I don't know what you come to do.
Exactly.
I came to cash these checks.
Amen, brother. So you just have to. It's just so many things. to fight against. And like I say, brown nose. We don't know what it's gonna take to do that. But sometimes your card gets called. Sometimes the person that you're brown nose to, there's somebody above him that doesn't like it.
Right.
Sometimes you're super professional, and the person above your boss doesn't like, you're too anal, you're too much of a bureaucrat. They want you to loosen up and do these things. So people always want something. You can't mold it to everything, because sometimes it's just going to be tested. Like you run around with a bunch of, in the hood, you run around with a bunch of hard people. Somebody might catch you by yourself, and now you the one that can't fight. You the odd man out.
That's
so
true.
they're going to always attack you as the weakest link. So if you get in 40 encounters and your crew or whatever backs up, y'all stay as a unit, and everybody's saying you're protected.
Right.
By your cabinet, like the president would be. You're protected by your workers under you. You're protected by your group. You're stronger in numbers.
Right.
Any time one of those 40 encounters, it could have been your number. Your time to call. You could have took the punch, and you could have been. So it's good to try. If you are in a situation where you're being carried, try to learn the skills. Like if you're in a group of 5 fighters, everybody can fight, but you can fake it real good. In 5 years, you need to be a better fighter than what you was when you started. Even though you hadn't had to fight, you started off not knowing what you're doing. Everybody was carrying you. Hey man, hanging around professionals.
Right.
You need to pick up some skills. Don't be the weak link for a long time.
Right.
Sometimes you get in positions that are greater than your skill level.
Right.
And you might be blessed to be there.
Right.
But you don't want to come in 3 years. You ain't learn how. But I didn't know how to do it when I started. That was 3 years ago.
Right.
You've been working with these people every day, performing on a high level.
And that's the other personality right there, right? When they why you not doing that? Man, nobody showed me how to do that. Man, you been 5 years, man. Nobody showed you how to do that.
Yeah, and it's been a blessing. You've been skating by these 5 years.
But see, the thing
and now you ain't got no answer for it.
The thing they don't understand
is
you
lose something of the opportunity.
Yeah. And the thing they don't understand is it ain't that nobody showed you how to do it. You did not take the initiative to learn how to do it. I don't know. That only lasts for so long, man.
But it let me in. I didn't know it when they hired me. They knew I didn't know it.
Because most jobs now
you can lose this job that you were underqualified for.
Yeah.
Or when you could have actually kept it.
Yeah, because most jobs, man, from what I've been hearing, like they don't do those long orientations like they used to.
Oh yeah,
most jobs they bring
that was
you
a free 2 weeks.
Yeah, most jobs they bring you right in, they put you right in there where you're supposed to go, and you're gonna get it how you live.
Yeah, and then they get you. Here's your access. Here's your password. Here's the key to the store.
Exactly.
I remember I was working in one retail store.
Man, retail stores are the worst.
Oh God! Like next thing you know, hey man, you're the manager. So here's the alarm codes. Here's the keys to the store. Hey, you know how much merchandise is in this store? Y'all don't even know me. I've been here like a week, and now I got the alarm codes.
But guess what, buddy? You're gonna be so tired from working, you're not gonna want to steal anything because you're gonna work from sun up to sundown. The only thing you're not gonna be doing is picking cotton out the ground.
I had the safe combination, the security codes, all the logins. You know what I mean? It's like the physical keys to the store, back door, and control of the cameras. I've been here a week. Was my resume that strong? You know what I mean?
High turnover.
But they want you to hire me here. There you go.
Because they don't want to do it. High turnover, delegate tasks, man.
But it takes some of those brown nose. Oh my God, I'm important. Like I'm the owner now.
So you brown nose? Is that what you saying?
No.
I thought you said
some people get off on it. I'm like, nah, man. If you give me more responsibility, you need to give me more money.
Yeah.
That ain't my job.
Oh God, I don't know if we can afford that. I mean, that's a steep task.
I don't know if these market conditions. I don't know if I can afford that. My stress income level is being touched, and that's affecting my mental health.
But yeah, guys, we about to get ready to wrap this thing up, man. This is our first podcast we posting, man. So yeah, man, we gonna end this thing by saying, think and make a decision. Don't make a decision, then think, because it'll probably be too late by then.
Yeah, it's a lot more expensive and harder to clean up.
Very.
A mistake, than we can't foresee all problems.
Yeah.
But, just put a little thought into it before you make any actions, because sometimes they have longer consequences than we initially think.
Cool, man. But yeah, man, we're about to sign out, man. We thank everybody for watching and listening. Subscribe to our channel. And thanks, man, for watching, man. We'll catch you guys on next time.
Looking forward to hearing your comments.